What does a corrupt politician, a famed playwright, a revolutionary, a possible heir to a throne, or a lowly valet all have in common? These are all people who are candidates for the Man in the Iron Mask. In 1600 France, a mysterious prisoner was held for 33 years with all the royal accoutrements and with his face hidden for his entire time in prison. Today on MKUSUAL, we're doing The Man in the Iron Mask. So for over 300 years, the Man in the Iron Mask has been one of France's greatest historical enigmas.
Okay.
He was a prisoner held in absolute secrecy during the reign of King Louis XIV, locked away in various fortresses, including the Bastille and the forest of Pignerol. I'm sure the French say that differently. From 1669 until his death in 1703. 34 years. His identity has never been revealed, and he was forced to wear a mask at all times, though historical records suggest it was likely a black velvet mask, not an iron one. That was later added by writers and myth makers. So for some reason, it wasn't a punishment necessarily to wear the mask, but it was definitely, they didn't want people to know who this guy is. The mystery captivated Europe, inspiring wild speculation. Was he just a disgraced noble? A royal twin? French writer Alexander Dumas cemented the mystery in pop culture with his 1847 novel, The Man in the Iron Mask, which he claimed the prisoner was actually King Louis XIV's secret twin brother, hidden away to prevent a crisis. This theory became legend, inspiring countless movies and books. But is there any truth to it? So we got 5 theories. Number 1, the most likely candidate, Eustache Dodger.
Okay.
We all know Eustache Dodger. Mm-hmm. Who was he? The official French records claim the masked prisoner was Eustache Dodger, arrested in 1669 under direct orders from Louis XIV's powerful minister, Marquis de Lavaux. He was locked away under extreme secrecy, with guards forbidden to speak his name or discuss his crime. Some believe Dodger was a low-ranking valet who overheard something dangerous, possibly involving state secrets or royal corruption. Others think Dodger was a false identity given to someone far more important. The fact that this jailer took him everywhere he was transferred suggests he was an unusually high-value prisoner. So he kept the same jailer, too. Theory is compelling because it fits the timeline and secrecy levels. The government went to great lengths to hide his true identity. But why the mask for a valet? That part doesn't make any sense to me.
If you were just a valet who heard one thing, why not just kill him? If no one's going to miss him.
Yeah, even if there's like a code of conduct, you would just say, you just put him away. This theory doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't seem like the correct punishment for learning something secret. You would think that valets would like commonly hear things.
Right.
And if the dude was a talker or they were scared he was going to tell people, you would think that they would cut out his tongue or something. I mean, these were some rough times.
Right. Just give him a fucking ass whooping and then...
Yeah. Well, why would he put him in a velvet mask for the rest of his life?
Yeah.
And then the same jailer, like he's only allowed to interact with this one guy. Dude, he has to be someone more important.
That's exactly what I was going to... He has to have more value to whoever is keeping this secret than some guy who shovels the horse shit off the front step and brings the cart around.
There's just so many other ways he would handle that circumstance. Although, hey, look at Obama. He drowned his chef. If he can do it, King Louis XIV can do it.
I just like to imagine that he was out there on a paddleboard and Obama was just like on the shore with a 5-iron, just ripping golf balls at him. It was like a gay, like overcooked the turkey for Thanksgiving, and he just... Anyway,
I like to imagine like the guy was out for a nice swim, and then he turned around and Obama was standing there, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Barry," and then Obama just like cold dead look in his eyes, like grabs him and is like drowning him in the sea.
That's probably what happened.
I bet it was Michelle. Wow. Okay, off the
If we hear helicopters over the house in the next 10 minutes, it was nice knowing you guys.
Nice knowing you guys. This podcast is one long suicide note. we're too afraid to do it ourselves.
Unfortunately, it's the opposite. I do know how to swim. I do not wish to die.
Yep. We do not take pills.
I
We do not have the hantavirus.
don't drive a car, so if I'm in a car crash and my brakes don't work.
What
Anyway,
if this is the one that does it? What if it's the man in the iron
we
mask?
accidentally solve it and we're like, fuck.
Like some secret society from France is still guarding the secret.
It would invalidate some treaty because there was actually a twin brother. Or like,
This like blows NATO apart.
that would be cool.
So here's the second theory, the one in the book. King Louis XIV's illegitimate or secret twin brother. I don't know how a twin brother could be illegitimate.
Yeah.
I think they just mean those as two separate things. So in Dumas's famous book, he popularized the idea that the prisoner was the secret twin of King Louis XIV. According to the legend, Louis XIII and Anne of Austria had twin sons, but French law forbade two heirs. So one was hidden away for life. So now I got to know, when was King Louis XIV born? Because I want to know the significance of 1669. So King Louis XIV, that's interesting, was born in 1638. So they would have locked up his brother around the 30th birthday. Unless that date is just the first time that he's in the records. Here's what makes this interesting. The prisoner was kept in luxury, given fine clothes and good food, not the treatment you'd expect of a commoner. The idea of a hidden royal twin was actually rumored before the Dumas book, suggesting it's not purely fiction. If true, it means King Louis XIV had a legitimate brother who was denied the throne. This does explain the extreme secrecy, because his existence would have threatened the monarchy. It would justify the need for the mask, as he would look just like Louis XIV. However, there is no record of Anne giving birth to twins, but there wouldn't be.
They see two pop out and they're going to be like, oh, fuck.
The problem begins immediately.
Yeah.
You couldn't even be like, well, you were born 5 seconds earlier. Because in this day and age, I mean, the younger brother, like, you know what I mean? Like, you could always just kill your brother. You'd have to separate them.
Right. To take the throne, one could kill the other. And
So,
simpler times.
I kind of like that theory. I like that theory because it must have been in circulation enough that he could write the book. It also explains like why they kept the guy in luxury.
It explains the mask. It explains the same jailer throughout his life. Like the
Yes.
jailer was some kind of connection to his family. Like he was taking messages back and forth and like.
The king had to have been updated on this guy, and
Right.
it would absolutely limit the number of people around him.
Yes.
All right,
Very plausible.
number 3, Nicolas Fouquet,
What'd you call me?
the corrupt finance minister. Who was he? Fouquet was King Louis XIV's superintendent of finances, essentially the second most powerful man in France. He was arrested in 1661 for allegedly embezzling state funds and plotting against the king. Some believe his imprisonment was a cover-up and he knew dangerous royal secrets. His trial was highly political, and he was sentenced to life in prison, though some claim he died in secrecy under the Iron Mask. The man in the Iron Mask was treated far better than a typical prisoner, suggesting he was someone of high status, just like Fouquet. So this theory is compelling because he had major enemies and knew too much. As the second most powerful man in France, he had the wealth and connections to be seen as a major threat. However, official records say Fouquet died in 1680, 23 years before the mass prisoner. I don't like this one at all. This one to me has the opposite problems as the valet. You have this high profile, powerful guy, a highly political, publicized trial. What's the point of putting him in a mask?
Right.
That would be like putting a mask on like Epstein and be like, "Oh, don't ask him who he is." Like, what's the point? Everybody knows who this guy is. Seems odd to mess with records like that. Like, to me, these are clearly two different people. I also, while I think this is compelling, I don't understand why somebody with such a highly publicized trial and all this political intrigue, why you would have to put them in a mask.
Yeah. The date of death thing is weird. He had secrets, and maybe about more than just the king. If he's dealing with the finances, he knows a lot.
True.
And maybe he was being kept in good condition, better conditions than, nice conditions, good clothes, good food.
That part all makes sense to me. That part says yes, but the anonymity gets me.
Yeah. Well, that to me that makes sense, because if he does have secrets, they don't want word getting out that he is. They don't want people to figure out where he is.
Okay. Or I guess potentially you say, "Hey, a man in a mask told me that the king embezzles funds meant for the church," or something. Like, you just say, "Well, it's just a guy in a mask."
Right.
Okay, yeah, maybe they hid his identity because knowing his identity lends credence to his accusations.
Why not just kill him? But if he does have the secrets, he might be more valuable alive. He might be selling the secrets or leveraging them. I don't know.
Okay, I actually like that. I like that theory that he has secrets the king doesn't know about.
He could be selling them to anyone to protect himself.
Or the king needs to know them, or at least have access to them. If
Yes.
stuff hits the fan.
Yeah. He wants to know who the rats are in the house, or
That's a good reason for keeping someone alive and anonymous.
yeah.
Okay, I don't hate this theory.
Witness protection, but the date of death thing seems, I don't know, starts to fall apart there for me.
Right. A lot of these do. Here's number 4. A possible secret heir to the English throne. Some historians theorize the masked prisoner was a noble with a direct bloodline to the throne, possibly to England. If true, the prisoner could have been a threat to both French and English monarchies. The British and French courts were very closely connected during this time period. So could Louis XIV secretly have imprisoned a claimant to the English throne? Some even believe the prisoner was Henry Cromwell, son of Oliver Cromwell, locked away to prevent him from overthrowing the monarchy. Again, because Oliver Cromwell did overthrow the monarchy. I don't hate this one. It could explain why he was kept secret his entire life. The idea that he was too politically dangerous fits, and there's no hard evidence. But there's no hard evidence connecting him to English royalty.
The man in the mask specifically, you mean?
There's no hard evidence connecting the man in the mask to English royalty. But, and we'll get into where this Henry Cromwell theory comes from at the end. I have a little reveal. I don't necessarily, on its face, hate this one, because it would essentially be a state secret if he was doing the King of England a solid.
Mm-hmm.
It could even be an heir to the King of England's throne, and so maybe he's in a form of exile.
I don't know enough about how all that works to I don't know enough about English or French history to know the.
Henry Cromwell supposedly died in 1674 at age 46. So that timeline doesn't perfectly match up. Like we were kind of talking about earlier, this one to me feels like someone's just throwing something against the wall to see if it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the worst theory, but you could just say that about anyone in high society, which is what number 5 is. Number 5 is Molière, the famous playwright. France's greatest playwright was rumored to have been imprisoned for mocking the Catholic Church and the king. Some claim he didn't die in 1673, but was silenced and imprisoned. Dude, records and like knowing where people were at that time kind of scare me. Just like a room. Can you imagine a rumor that Alec Baldwin is in prison? But nobody can confirm or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
such little access to information. Like
Yeah.
there's no way to confirm it or for that person to even know there's a rumor. So this is. Well, go ahead.
Alec Baldwin should be in prison.
Yes, that's why I chose him.
I'll say that.
So Moliere's plays often ridiculed the monarchy and the church, which angered powerful figures. His death was suspiciously sudden. Some believed he was secretly locked away for life. The idea that one of France's greatest literary minds was erased from history is chilling. This would explain why his identity would have to be hidden. The timeline roughly fits the prisoner's arrest. However, Moliere's body was publicly buried. So unless that was staged, he wasn't the prisoner. But doesn't all of this entails some kind of staging of events or like secret? I guess the reason why you wouldn't just kill the playwright would be that if people suspected he was killed, if he was mocking the monarchy and the church, I guess that could
Could make
foment
him a
uprising.
martyr. Yeah, it makes him a martyr. It validates his criticism.
Yes.
It discredits the, legitimacy of the ruler.
That one to me, this one again, this one's of the five. I kind of dislike this one the most.
Yeah.
This one's really just like throwing the name of a famous French person out there. Even the valet to me makes a little more sense.
It's more than that.
Because if he had state secrets, you'd treat him well just to treat him well.
So maybe to encourage him not to keep his mouth shut.
Right. And we think of kings as just doing whatever they want, but there was civility. There was laws.
There had to be some code of honor.
There were some form of checks and balances.
Right.
Not great, not amazing checks and balances, but the idea that, we keep saying, like, why wouldn't you just kill this guy? Why wouldn't you off him? Like, they didn't just, not every king did that all the time. They didn't just kill everybody who was
Right.
in their way. Every government has to have some form of legitimacy. So I kind of teased this, but I went and I looked up the list of candidates other than these, and I want to introduce a character who we talked about but didn't name earlier, and that is a man by the name of Saint Mars, Benign Davern de Saint Mars. This is the jailer. This is the man who, for the entire time, was overseeing the man in the mask, which we keep saying iron, but I guess it was velvet. He himself is the guy who created a lot of these rumors. So I guess he doesn't necessarily have a diary we have access to, but he does have letters. And in these letters,
He was talking shit.
yeah, he'd be talking shit. In 1669, so the year of the arrest, he suggested it was a marshal of France or a member of the French Parliament, which he suggested that as a rumor to a friend in a letter. But then he kind of taunts people too. In 1670, he says, I tell them tall tales to make fun of them. In 1687, he said, everyone tries to guess who my prisoner might be. And that's a letter to the same person. And he said, it's, quote, all the people that one believes, dead or not. He even then,
He's saying it's like everyone and no one.
It's like,
and
yeah.
all the time, yeah.
The man in the iron mask is everyone and no one. And then the next year, he suggested in another letter to the same guy, his friend Laveau, who he had earlier said it was a member of the parliament, blah, blah, blah. He said it was Francois Duke of Beaufort.
Oh, fuck.
So you can't trust anything
This
guy
guy's running
says.
a bit.
He is. And then 1688, in two different letters, one in July and one in October, he said it was Richard Cromwell. And then in another letter, he said it was Henry Cromwell. So a lot of the...
Father and son.
Then he said it was an English Millard. Then he said it was a man jailed as a schoolboy, aged 12 to 13, for writing verses against the Jesuits. So just keep... keep an open mind, but always check your sources, because a lot of these favored people, the historians that want to, that a lot of these favored people are literally, it's just a joke being told by the jailer.
I'm,
Which tells me he was the perfect jailer, because not only did he keep his mouth
Right.
shut, he ran the disinfo campaign.
yes. I'm curious about like the Alexander Dumas writing about it, and like what was he just drawing from rumors and it kind of just got his wheels turning, or like would he would probably know some of these people that this jailer is talking to.
Well, I'm not sure, because okay, remember the arrest date was 1669,
Oh,
and he
okay,
lived
yeah,
until
yeah.
1703.
When was
What year
Alexander
was the
Dumas
Man in
alive?
the
Yeah.
Iron Mask written? The Man in the Iron Mask was written
So way later.
1847 to
Okay,
1850.
he was way older.
Oh
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
you. Okay. So well,
So it's kind of like urban legend.
but maybe he was able to read some of these letters, and this is where he got his story from. It's not pure fiction. It's based on this event. So I don't know. Anyway,
Oh, you want to know where the idea that it was an older illegitimate brother comes from?
yeah.
Voltaire.
Okay, that checks. That tracks.
That tracks.
Final thoughts?
Mm,
Thoughts? Concerns?
thoughts, concerns, comments, gripes. I'm not happy with any of these, and I pledge to solve this. I'm going to solve it. I'm going to look up some other people that aren't on the list.
We're gonna crack the case.
Not just our list, but like the longer Wikipedia, the list of like historical. I want to find.
Dennis is gonna crack the case, so I'm just gonna sit here.
No, you'll crack the case. You'll do it, buddy. I'm going to find a list of people who were prominent, because we know he was prominent.
We can be almost certain.
And I'm going to stick to the 1669 date, not like these other fluffy theories that are years before or years after. And I'm going to find people who were prominent, who disappeared or died suddenly in 1669.
If it were a prominent person, based on the identity being hidden, the jailer being the same, and the treatment, it would have been a significant event that led to this person being jailed.
I think it could be anything. I think it could be
Well, but
they
I'm
had
just-
sex with the wrong person.
But I'm just saying it would happen immediately.
But out of some kind of loyalty to the family or the code of nobility, we will not kill him.
Right.
We will not torture him. We'll put a nice little mask on him. But like, because a scandal, to me, it seems way more likely that it's not a huge matter of state. It's more of a scandal where you wouldn't want anyone to know that your son or your heir was involved in this nasty business, whatever it was. Because I think if somebody committed treason,
He was ghost
killed
riding.
him.
He was ghost riding the chariot and ran over the groundskeeper.
something like that.
He was ghost riding the whip. He was hammered.
Probably. My guess is it's going to be sex related. But no, you have to like and subscribe now, because if you do, we're going to come back with an episode where we crack this
If you
thing.
don't, we're not gonna do it.
Or we'll do it and we won't tell you.
You won't know because you didn't like and subscribe.
Exactly. It was your favorite theory.
My gut says illegitimate child, heir to the throne.
Voltaire.
That's to me. That's how I feel. Voltaire wasn't alive. Well, he might have been alive during the time, so I feel like he might have had his finger on the pulse there. He was born in 1694.
Oh, yeah. So he was alive during the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a 10-year-old when the prisoner died, but he was extremely educated.
And he would have been well connected.
He was a historian.
Yeah. He would have had access to records and shit. Anyway, that's my gut.
I think that's the strongest one.
I like the finance minister. I like that because it's like a juicy political scandal, and there could be a lot of players in that one.
Right. Now, I would believe that more if the finance minister supposedly died in 1669. I don't see the purpose of keeping two separate prison and death records. That's why I'm going to look for people who died. Because to me, the mask to me, unless he's a twin or related to the king, you're hiding somebody who shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I think that's a solid theory.
All right. Tune in. We love you. Keep watching. We're going to blow this one wide open.